that a minute. Give that a minute to get it all going. Almost muted myself then. Right. Live stream. I haven't done one in a few weeks. I've been predominantly doing the list. I've been predominantly doing the videos, the top 10s, etc., etc. But the utter shit show that we saw last night, the 4-1 defeat to PSV, the worst Champions League performance for, God, I can't even remember what Real Madrid, the 5-2, maybe the 4-1 against Napoli a few years ago. There's been some bad performances over the years, but honestly, that might be the worst Champions League performance, specifically at Anfield, that I can recall, or I've seen in my lifetime. Definitely, I think Champions League. Arne Slots at this point surely is finished. There is no coming back from this. This is the first time that Liverpool have lost consecutive matches, I believe, since 1993. I think this is the first time since 1992, September 92, that Liverpool have lost 3 games in a row, conceding 3 matches in each of them. We are at our worst point, arguably, in the Premier League. We've had the Roy Hodgson era. We had the tail end of the Brendan Rodgers era. We had the Graham Souness era at the start of the Premier League's lifespan. This right now feels as though it can't get any worse. We've lost 9 in 12. We've conceded 3 goals against City, 3 goals against Forest, 4 goals against PSV. And the worst thing is, everyone looks like they've given up. And even with those old teams, the Rodgers team, the Souness team, all that, you could always say, right, at least the players looked like they were willing. At least they were wanting to make something happen. It was down to the tactics. It was down to the setup. Everyone at the moment just looks like they've given up, and they look like they've just got no desire and no will. And I don't really care what situation you're in. I don't care what it is tactically. I don't care what it is when it comes to the manager. The very least I expect from this team, from Liverpool, is desire, an attempt to win the ball. I don't want to see passive people who are just letting people walk past them to get through on goal just to score as easily as PSV did. We are the champions of England. We are the Premier League champions. We are the team who are the epitome of football in England. And right now we're playing an Eredivisie team, PSV, who, don't get me wrong, undefeated in 15 away matches. Brilliant, fine, good for them. But it's an Eredivisie team, and I don't care if it's them. I don't care if it's City. I don't care if it's Arsenal, Forest, Palace, anyone. Getting thumped 4-1 at Anfield in the manner of which we did, with the only moment where we looked even slightly like we were going to show any sort of confidence to push for winning that match, was the small 20-minute spell we had at the first half at the end of it, where we actually thought, right, let's attack, let's make something happen. The minute we scored, we reverted back to Slots' tactics of trying to keep the ball, defending deep, but then just no desire to win the ball back. And we looked lost and we conceded. And from then on, it just went to shit. And now we're in this situation where we've got a Premier League winning manager who we all want gone. And I don't think that I cannot recall a situation at that time that I've been in. But there are other people who also feel similar. other people who also feel the same sort of way. So let's hello, mate. How are you?
I'm very well. Yourself?
Good. I'm well, mate. I'm as good as it can be.
Yeah, as good as anyone we all can be, can we? What a shit show that was last night, wasn't it?
Utter shit show, mate. And we're going to get into it today. If anyone doesn't know, this is Mo. He's Anfield Index, Welsh Mo, as Grizz calls him. He's been on a lot of different things. He's going to help me out today because I don't think I could sort of sum up my feelings towards that utter display of. I'm struggling for words, and it's very rare for me that. But yeah, I mean, we'll just sort of go over it, and we'll just go over. Mainly today is going to be about Slots' future, what we think is going to happen here, what we think of that PSV match, but. How are you feeling after what can only be described as I've said shit show about 3 times, but we'll say it again, shit show in the Champions League, mate.
Well, let's keep it real. Not just the Champions League, the whole season. It's. Yeah. I believe it's to the point where it's untenable now. I was one that in my mind said, give until January, see where we are. But that credit is he's gone into his overdraft now. And we need to do about like I don't want to go down a route of being a Chelsea. I don't want to go down that route. And we've never sacked a title winning manager. They've always left at their own accord. But I get that. But at what point do we still have a chance to rescue this season? Okay, and that's the thing. And it felt like to me, I always said the next run of games will tell me whether the players have down tools or not. And then people can shout at me and you're entitled to your own opinion. That's fine. But I felt like some of them have down tools as well and don't know what they're doing, So look, when it goes to that point, you have to do something. You have to react, try and save. The worst case scenario now, if we miss like his top 4 minimum, if we miss out on top 4, that could be catastrophic. It could put us back 3-4 years again. So we need to take action before it's too late. That's where I am.
Oh, mate, no, I'm the same. I think I completely agree. I think that there's a lot of people out there who are spinning the narrative of Liverpool aren't a sacking club, and I think that for a long time that was something which was. It's true. We kept faith in Klopp even during that awful 2020-21 season because obviously there were circumstances. 22-23. We lost 3 in 4 matches. We conceded 3 in each of them. There was Brentford. There was Wolves, I think. Like that, we've been through spells, but the problem is sometimes that unwillingness to progress and to move on. We saw it towards the end of Souness. Well, I didn't. I wasn't a twinkle in my dad's balls at that point, but we've had glimpses in the past of when we've been thinking, right, it's time to move on, and we maybe haven't done it. And right now under Slot, mate, we look lost, and I completely agree in terms of players looked like they gave up, particularly for that second goal. The Mo Salah not putting in any effort. Van Dijk was out of position. Kerkez was bullied. The 4th goal, they all just it was like the moment that second goal went in, everyone just immediately packed in and just gave up and said, right, well, here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, there's no fight. I think Dom is the only one who showed a bit of fight, and yeah, but we can't have 11 Doms on the pitch, can we? I'd love to. We'd probably win a few games. Do you know what I mean? And I think from a fan's perspective, that's all we want to see when we're going through this kind of form. We want to see them play for that badge. I mean, I'm in my late 40s, and I would still break a leg just to have 90 minutes, or forget 90 minutes, 10 minutes in a Liverpool shirt on that pitch. I would give anything for it. So they don't know how lucky they are. But there's so many variables for this season that you need to take into consideration. I get it, new players, the passing of Diego Jota, rest in peace. How there's no timeline on how you handle grief, injuries. There's so many things, but you all roads lead to the manager. I just feel everyone says individual errors, yes, and a lot of the goals we've conceded are individual errors. But my thought process is those individual errors are because of the system, and players don't know whether they're coming or going in the system, which leads them to make these individual errors. Ibu's getting blasted, and rightly so in a way, but that goal when he came forward and mistimed it is because he had no protection from the midfielders anyway. So and there's no press from the front. We've gone and replaced, or not replaced, but we've lost presses in Diaz, Nunes, and Jota. Rest in peace. Yeah. And we've replaced with essentially non-presses. Gakpo doesn't really press much. Isak, when he plays, doesn't really do.
Mate, Isak, I said last night on the Anfield Index stream, I cannot recall the last time I've been so unenthusiastic about a new signing for the amount of money we've spent.
And the warning signs were there with his injury record. I got the feeling he might have a Poppadom groin. He's going to be one of those players. He's going to be one of those players I hope not. I hope I'm wrong, and I clip it and take the piss out of me. Fine.
No, I'm the same, mate. I'm the same.
I hope I'm wrong, and I hope he does. I know he's quality. I'm not saying he's not, and he will get goals. My only concern is this injury. He's had no preseason fine, but he's had 3 months now. That's more than most preseason, and still we can't get him to the place where he's 100% fit. So question marks have to be raised. But there's loads of variables, but ultimately all roads lead to the manager. And I just feel another thing, he's not big enough for this club or for the names. If I ask the question to the chat or to the listeners, who was actually bigger than Klopp in Liverpool? I don't think. But
no, there was no one. That's the thing.
Who's bigger than Slot? Who's bigger than Slot? You can name about 4 or 5 players, can't you? Really?
Yeah.
So that's my concern as well. Whether he's got the not aura, but you know what I mean. The commandability to or the balls to drop Salah. Clearly, he hasn't.
Well, this is a big fit. So I put a video on the channel a few days ago, and I was saying there's 5 reasons you should sack Slot and 5 reasons you shouldn't. And one of the main reasons why I was saying Slot needs to go is because he's so stubborn with his approach. Whereas, so say Salah, for example, we can all see he's gone off a cliff this season. He's been awful. Whether it's because of Jota, whether it's because of the tactics, whether it's because of age, I don't know. But the warning signs were there towards the back end of last season where he started to dip. It was 2 goals and 1 assist in 9 matches. We'd already won the league, of course, but he was going for the record of individuals. And he was, the signs were there. Slot shows such resistance in wanting to take him off and put Chiesa on. Chiesa, by the way, I thought he was the only one who put effort in those final 15 minutes other than Szoboszlai. I thought he was great. He came on. He actually wanted to make stuff happen. Is not getting the chance. Konate, mate, I let my dog out to take a shit during the end of that match. It was more entertaining than watching him play. Honest to God, I'm done with him as a centre-back, and I don't want to be a negative fan. I don't want to be someone who's just slandering players because it's clippable, it's, gets the views, blah, 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 because I'm not like that. Well, you know that.
Yeah.
But I'm done with seeing him in a back line. And Slot, we saw at the start of last season, and I think you said this on the Red Room, actually, he hooked Quansah off, and we all got filled with the idea of finally it's someone who, if he doesn't like what he's seeing, off you go. Because Klopp often got branded with the narrative of he's too loyal, he trusts players too much, he will not make those drastic changes.
Got his favourite.
Quansah goes. Yeah, exactly. On comes Konate. We smash Ipswich, and from then on, he just excels up until the Real Madrid game where he gets injured, and then from then it's a bit of a decline. But he was still top quality. Now you've got Konate there. I'd rather Endo at centre back. I'd rather a not fully fit Joe Gomez. I'd rather Robertson there. I don't care what the solution is. If someone is not playing well, if someone is causing errors that lead to goals, albeit he hasn't got protection, how can you justify them as a manager who, let's face it, is fighting for his job? How can you justify playing those players that are more of a hindrance than anything?
Yeah, 100% spot on. And that's another reason you can add it to the list why a change may be necessary, It's the defending yesterday, it started, and we got to be honest, it started from Verge. Verge set the tone. He was awful the first 16 minutes. I've never seen performance like that. From the handball to the sliding tackle. When does Verge go to ground and do a rash sliding tackle? He was rattled the first 60 minutes, and that spread through the defence then, And I said at the start of the game to my mate, I said, do you know what? We're going to end up with 2 midfielders in defence again, aren't we? And lo and behold, it happened,
Gravenberch ends up there, yeah.
What was Joe Gomez thinking? Is he so unfit that you can't put him on for 10, 15 minutes? Is it that? Surely not. If you're on the bench.
I saw reports that were saying he was going to start this match, so I don't know what went on there.
So I'm just confused. How is it? It can't be his attitude. He's Joe Gomez, But what is
Joe
it?
Joe Gomez can't be a twat. He's fine.
And so it has to be the manager, And
yeah.
Even yesterday, and to be fair, I wouldn't say Gakpo was brilliant. He was better than the other two, put it that way, in my opinion. Okay, but yesterday was a perfect game to unleash Rio for 60 minutes first, and play Chiesa and really go at them. But no. And West Ham, again, Sunday, we all know what the team's going to be. It's going to be the same, isn't it? It's going to be rinse and repeat. And that's the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a change. It's not.
Yeah.
And it could be. If I was surprised he hasn't gone yet, but if West Ham is a loss, then.
Yeah, I mean, I put a poll up on my channel last night, if I can just get it really quick, where I was asking the question, if Slot is, after that performance against PSV, if that's the low point, do we still think he's going to be in charge going into the match against West Ham? Obviously, Indy was releasing those reports that were saying that there is crucial discussions, emergency talks. Apparently, contract talks have been put on hold, which is a big thing if that's genuine. And of the 245 people that voted, thank you very much, by the way, everyone who did vote, 42% said yes, he still has time. 58% said no, he will be sacked beforehand. Now, that's a lot closer than I thought it would be. And that was posted straight after the match as well, when people were at the most intense. And yet people are still saying, look, he's still got time. He's still got a chance. But are we being... And it's not a trick question, because I'll admit I'm a stubborn fan at points, but like, are we being too naive as a fan base saying, look, we're not a sacking club, we're not that kind of club, we don't go through like what Chelsea have done, we don't do what United have done, or are we just sort of fooling ourselves into thinking, look, this will click 1 point, it's just a bit of a spell? Because there's more worrying signs than this just being a dip in form, let's be honest.
It's gone. It's not a dip in form. It's 9 and 12. We've got to call it as it is. It's not a dip in form. It's a crisis, And look, when those players go and play internationally, they play amazing. So,
yeah.
But when they come back to the club, it's shambles. So something is not right. Whether it's from the tactics, whether it's something's happened behind the scenes, whether there's probably a division within the squads. There's also things I've noticed that I didn't notice under the Klopp era from a playing perspective and this is throwing some shade on some of the players, when they don't get the free kick, their hands in the air and
mate, the handball shout.
The attitude in some of our players, and I've seen a little change, and I don't like it, So yeah, I don't know whether I'm looking into things too much, but this fundamentally there's cracks all over the team, and people could say, look, last season we had leaders in Ali and Verge and Mo that we looked to them for leadership, and again they haven't performed as good as anywhere near last season, but we still look to them from a leadership perspective, and we're not getting it, are we? So if we're not getting it from our leaders, then there must be something going on, I think, that we don't know.
Yeah, and to be fair, like Trent, for example, when he was vice captain, he had that sort of that whingy attitude at points, and it was something that we just grew to expect, because he was just he was incredible talent, Trent. And looking back now, it's more evident that we miss him more than ever. Let's face it. But Verge, I don't expect that kind of putting your hand in the air, demanding the foul because you think that you've been shoved. I don't want to see players crying for handball every second of every match. Like it's a proper, it feels like a self-entitled attitude of we deserve to win this because we won the league last season. And I think Slot is a big part of that, in the sense of when that second goal went in, or when PSV scored that goal that was ruled out as offside, his face just immediately just looked like he'd given up. And that's the worry, is if you're these players who are expected to be the great motivators, Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, who obviously didn't play yesterday, but is still one of those characters, Robbo, same thing for him. If you're looking at the touchline, you're seeing the manager who's there saying, like, he looks like he's ready to cry, he looks defeated, he looks done. How are you meant to get motivated for that?
Yeah, I've never seen Slot animated. It's always hands folded, isn't it? I've never seen him barking out tactics, or if you just compare it to other managers, like, in this league, in the Premier League, like they're very vocal, even giving it all this and all that, sending out messages. Slot, no, arms folded. And like you said, how are you supposed to get motivated by that? So
I used to like his approach. Like I used to think his calm demeanor was such an opposite of Klopp that it felt sort of refreshing at first.
But maybe the players have seen through it now.
Yeah.
Look, I do believe 80% of it lands on the manager's doorstep, but 20% you've got to question our players as well. But that could be many things, new players trying to get bed into an atmosphere where they've just lost a really good friend. It must be weird for them to go and what's going on, and can't get fully fitness, injury problems, new coaches. Van Bronckhorst, I question his capabilities at the moment. For me, he failed as a manager. So we got this new. We implemented this new set piece corner specialist from Southampton. We got him. I don't know whether he goes to work. Clearly not at the moment. It doesn't work. So there's loads of things we need to question. From the setup, and that's why I think maybe a shake-up is needed from a coaching perspective. Or even get someone like Hettenberg back. Maybe he was the genius behind it all. We don't know, but something has to change.
Mate, it's possible. Klopp often said, look, Pep Linders was the main reason that he succeeded. It comes down to who's around you. And Slot this season, I feel like because obviously he inherited that Klopp team, lost a lot of the backroom staff, and he brought in a lot of his own people. It was built sort of in his image. But now that there's been so much change both on and off the pitch, you've had the first summer window where Richard Hughes has been here. You've got Van Bronckhorst come in, new set piece coaches. So much has gone on and so much has changed. Maybe it is a bit too much for him to actually take over. And I think there is a lot of people who are just saying, look, he's out of his depth. And like Anfield Irishman says here, by the way, mate, because he comes in all the time, Europe was supposed to be a chance to get out of the funk. And mate, it absolutely. I said that one of the main reasons we shouldn't sack Slot is you go through any season where Liverpool have had a bad campaign, have had a bad spell, bad run of form. Winning a trophy is so important. 2004-05, a lot of people forget. In terms of a Premier League campaign, it was pretty poor. We finished fifth. We just about scraped that. We had bad defeats that season, facing a Chelsea who were coming into the Mourinho era, Arsenal fresh off the Invincibles, United, Roy's at the top. But it was a poor season, but no one cares and no one remembers because we won the Champions League. That's the big headline of it. And for Slot this season, the big thing for him should have been, right, if the Premier League's going the way it is, against these European teams that are so much more expansive and more willing to create space in behind for you to work with, he needed to look at that and think, right, this is my opportunity to get us going in the right direction. A big win in Europe can set the tempo.
Yeah, and instead we got humiliated, let's be honest, at home, embarrassed. So look, when do we have that conversation on potential replacements? I know it's too early. He's still our manager, and we got to back him. And I hope he does turn around. But I feel he's lost the dressing room personally, and that's why I think I think he won't turn it around. So, look, for me, there's only the two people I want are not obtainable. To manage Liverpool Football Club, I think we need to go for the very best. So my first choice would be Luis Enrique. Second choice would be Xabi Alonso, but neither would come right now. So if we do make a mid-season change, who was there? And I understand the argument from people, the counter argument. Okay, if you're going to get rid of Slot now, who are you going to bring in? And that's a very, very good counter argument, So hypothetically speaking, what names are people thinking, if we do come to that bridge that we have to cross? Because I generally think if we don't win against West Ham, which I'm going to be there, by the way, I'll be in, go into that. If we don't win against West Ham, then questions have to be asked. It's 10 goals we've conceded in 3 games. We've scored 1 goal, It's not good enough, and we're slowly seeing our season slip away through our fingers. And, you can blame, everyone's entitled to their opinion, great, but ultimately the shit lands on the doorstep of the manager, in my opinion.
Oh no, I'm completely agree, mate. And the big thing for Slots' setup and the way that he operated last season was we just don't concede. We're very rigid at the back. The first 3 games were clean sheets: United, Brentford, and Ipswich, and the 2 clean sheets against City. Like that was his whole philosophy. The problem we have now is we're not keeping those clean sheets, but also we're not being bailed out of by the goals of Mo Salah, who, let's face it, at points last season, multiple matches, got us through the shit. Guided us to wins. Newcastle away is a prime example of that. And now, even though you've brought in Ekitike and Isak and Salah's still there and Gakpo's still there, we're still not scoring the goals. And I'm just going to add other Mo in. He's not happy. But no, look, the goals have dried up. And there's no excuse for it. And he's not being carried by those goal scorers who've been able to get us over the line like Salah did multiple times last season. Because we could rely on the fact that we're not going to concede goals. So eventually one will come with the talents we've got up top. Now, fuck all's happening at both ends. And we look devoid of all ideas. And I think if I don't let Mo speak, Scouse Mo, I think his head might pop. So, I mean, how are you feeling, mate, after yesterday?
Well, we're all the same. I think we're all in the same boat. My head's gone. When I seen that he was doing this now, I'm literally in the office. I thought I just need to come and just get something off my chest, man. This is just ridiculous now. Honestly, I feel like the writing's been on the wall for a few weeks now. And well, Shmo, you've been saying it for a while, but I've tried to remain positive. I've tried to think, even though the writing's on the wall, you can clearly see that this guy does not know how to fix these problems. He's had 3 international breaks now to solve these issues. It's clear, it's obvious that this guy cannot resolve these issues, these problems that we keep on facing. It's so sad for me to say, because I hate to say our manager has to go, but he has to go. Like, genuinely, I can't see us beating West Ham. And I've been saying that I honestly thought we'd beat PSV. That's the scary thing, bro. Like, I genuinely thought PSV would beat them.
Same here. I generally thought we were going to win PSV, but then lose against West Ham.
Yeah, I was thinking, we'll beat PSV. We'll lose to West Ham. We'll get battered by Sunderland. And then who's the game after that? After Sunderland, I forgot who it was, but I was thinking we'll lose that as well. So I'm
Leeds,
thinking,
I think.
Leeds, that was the one. Leeds, Ellen Road. Oh, that's just going to be
horrible. I'm going to that as well. Oh, God.
Nightmare. So the way I was thinking, I was like, I don't know why I was staying so positive. I was thinking maybe something will change. The players are too good to just be this bad continuously forever. But yesterday, man, it was just appalling. I'm watching, not the first time this season, but like so many times this season, players ducking out to 50-50s, ducking out to duels and challenges. And that for me is just disgraceful. But I think one of the main reasons why I was trying to stay positive is because when he does go, because right now, as you mentioned in the group chat the other day, it's untenable right now. Like when he does go, because he should go, who comes in and sorts this mess out? Because we've got players that look like they're terrified to get stuck in. There's zero intensity. Maybe a manager can come in and just force them, like, just fight. Do you know what I mean? But there's so many individual errors. Like, how are you supposed to stop these individual errors? Like, is it just gonna happen overnight? Does he have a magic wand, this new manager? There's so much problems.
Fucking needs it.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing, because like in the summer, every single one of us were buzzing with our signings. We were absolutely over the moon. Alexander Isak, Florian Wirtz, we were buzzing. We was like, yeah, we're gonna take over the world. Like, I know I was for sure. But like, hindsight's a beautiful thing when you think about it. These signings, although they're great players,
wrong profiles. I mentioned it a few weeks ago, didn't I?
Profile-wise, it's just awful. It makes no sense. Like, here it is. I'm probably victim to this as well, because I was calling for, like, I was very frustrated with Szoboszlai last season. I thought we could really improve in that area. We can create more. He's been our best player this season.
He's undroppable.
Honestly, the one thing that they should do is just in training put up a video of Dominic Szoboszlai this season, like a montage of Dominic Szoboszlai's performances this season, and make them watch that and say, that's what we expect. I was watching situations yesterday where Szoboszlai was literally pressing by himself. Salah's not moving an inch, Gakpo's not moving an inch, and Isaac, he doesn't move. Like, it's bizarre. And then that's one part of the pitch which is just completely broken. But then the other part of the pitch is our build-up is just disgusting. Like, we're passing the ball, it's goalkeeper, centre-back, 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 goalkeeper, left-back, centre-back. It's like ping, ping, ping. And then eventually when it goes to the DM, our DM's completely been found out now because he does that little turn thing, which is beautiful and it's amazing last season. Not many people could really resolve it, but I've been stressing this for the longest time. He is awful on the ball. His passing ability is shocking. And
He's a
He's not a
one-trick
DM.
pony.
He's not even a DM. Let's be honest.
He's not a DM.
No.
But the thing is, his passing ability has just become shocking, and now his confidence completely shot because the thing that he used to do that used to work for him all the time, players not falling for it no more. They're setting off him a little bit, saying, "Well, take the ball and try and progress it," and he can't progress it. So then all our counter attacks just fail from that position. Just so many issues. McAllister, who is he? This is not McAllister that I know. I don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in a way, I feel kind of sorry for Slot because how can he change it? Because he can't bring in another midfielder because that's the only midfielders he's got. He has to use one of them to play right back because our right backs are always injured. We can't get Konate out of the team because Gomez is always injured, and currently, apparently, he doesn't even train. He's taking painkillers or whatever.
I'd stick Endo there at this point. I couldn't give a shit. Stick Endo there.
I seen you tweet that the other day about Konate, putting Endo into the team instead of Konate, and I'm on board with that genuinely, which is just mental.
Mental
So,
to think.
what's in a way, I feel sorry for Slot, but still, you need to find a way around this. Do you know what I mean? Like Gakpo is just a negative to the team. We've always known this. Like whenever he plays, what's the point in him? Because he's 6'4", but he plays like he's 4'10". Salah is just non-existent. He's just not there. You're benching. You're arguably your best, not even arguably, definitely your best attacker of the season so far, Nekitike, to force Isaac into the team. If he's not fully fit, why are you playing him? That's his choice. Do you know what I mean? The other things, he doesn't really have a choice with it. But even like taking Konate off, I know he's been shocking. He's been awful. He's been terrible. But taking him off and putting Gravenberch there and bringing on another attacker, does he expect us to score like 5 goals in the space of 5 minutes and create like 77 chances? What's the purpose of that?
You got two midfielders in defence.
You got 2 midfielders in defence. What is the purpose of that? Like, there's just so many bizarre things going on, and I really need to just quickly get off that. I really need to just quickly get that off my chest. So sorry for crashing your.
Mate, no, fucking crack on. It's been a stressful night.
We're going to be talking later on, so hopefully we can talk a little bit more in depth. But lads, it's bleak right now. This is
it's dark.
It is bleak, man. But no, I appreciate you jumping on and getting the rant out.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to you whilst I'm working, so I'll speak to you later.
Right.
Nice,
speak to you later, man. Thank you very much. Well, there we go. Mo's.
He's up, didn't he, really?
Mate, you can tell he's been at the desk all day, seething.
I can see the steam coming out of his ears then.
God love him. We love Mo. But yeah, if you want to hear more of Mo later and, come over to Anfield Index, it's 8 p.m. tonight, isn't it, Red Room? We've got that on, so that'll be a nice little... You can listen to Grizz just rip us saying how he knows better, which he probably does at this point, to be honest. We were all sticking by Slots. But... yeah, as Anfield Irishman says, get back to work. Go on, Mo, hiding in the office. But yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of worrying things to come out of that. For one stat, which has been going around lately, Virgil van Dijk's only won 16% of his defensive duels this season, which, given how well he started in the season at the Atletico Madrid game, he was all over the place. He was incredible. Some of the earlier matches. That's also only the 6th time we've conceded 4 goals in Europe since 1992. We lost 5-4. We won 5-4 against Alaves, obviously 2001. Won the UEFA Cup during the treble under Houllier. Conceded 4 against Chelsea in the Champions League quarterfinals in 2009. 4 against Roma 2018 when we got to the final. 4-1 loss to Napoli 2022 and the 5-2 defeat to Real Madrid in 2023, which still holds the record for the most conceded. But with each of them, like that Chelsea one, we scored 4 goals. Alaves, we won the trophy. Roma still got to the final. Napoli, yeah, fair enough. Real Madrid, fair enough. But that one yesterday, at least with those other ones, there was always the idea of your head of Klopp's in charge. Somehow we can come back and we can make something happen. We can show grit, determination, win the match in the return leg. This defeat under Slot in the group stage is the first time that we've lost a group stage Champions League match in front of fans at Anfield since 2014, and we just looked like we were away at the Bernabeu, and there's a real worry mentally and physically from this Liverpool team right now, and Slot doesn't seem to have the answers, and it feels like the writing's on the wall for him, specifically when he's coming out and having to address his future when so many managers in the past have done that, and I do truly think he's got a week left, and then he's going to be gone.
Yeah, I don't think he makes the Sunderland game personally.
No, I agree.
So that's my view. Like, I think even if you get a draw on Sunday, would that appease the fans? I'm not sure it would. So
well, the Villa and Madrid games didn't.
No, exactly. So I think it's got, like I said, it got to the point when it's untenable, and it's a change is needed. Are you sure that 16% dual stat with Verge?
He's only winning with Verge. He's only won 16%. He's only winning 16% of his defensive duels currently.
This season, or just in the Champions League?
This season.
That's incredible. That's like, I mean, look, that time was always going to come, but is it that time now? What I mean by that is he's 34. There was going to be some signs of decline. Are we seeing that sign of decline? But the counter argument would be what you said. He was amazing against Atletico Madrid. He's a couple of games this season. He's shown that he's the super Verge that we know. But do we need to start being realistic with ourselves as fan base and say, look, maybe this could be the start of his decline? Or is it the case that the guy next to him is having an awful season and the whole of the defense is spreading like wildfire? So there's so many things that need to be answered, and we just don't know the answers.
My mistake, not 16, 60. Sorry,
I was going to say 16 sounds a bit crazy. It's like you're not winning a single thing.
I typed over the wrong thing. Yeah, sorry, 60. But even then, mate, that's still
even
that's
60
still
for Verge is terrible.
Yeah.
So would that mean Ibu's more effective in the air than him this season?
I think he's got the. I'll see if I can find it if we try and while I'm still going here. But look, there's a lot of systemic problems. I think for Liverpool in particular. Like, don't get me wrong. I think up until that stretch in the second half, right at the beginning, where we just immediately fell off a cliff, I think there were a few players who looked positive. I actually thought Kerkez looked decent. Curtis Jones at right back, I was quite enjoying him. I thought he was good. Ekitike had a few flashes, but it's almost as if, right, if we concede a goal, if we concede one goal, there's nothing we can do. And Slot is not the man to be getting them back on side. And like you said before, even that West Ham game, if we win that match, it means fuck all. Because if you look at United under Solskjaer, it was always under pressure, get a big win. Oh, suddenly it's all fine. And then he'd immediately dip. And we can't be going through that phase.
This is what I mean. You needed, sorry to interrupt. This is why I think you need to change now to salvage what we can in this season, because you can still salvage the season, But I just don't see enough patterns of play or any signs that Slot is the one that can change it around. We've 9 defeats in 12 says it speaks volumes. Conceding 10 goals in the last 3 games and scoring 1. That is not champions form. That is teams who have just been promoted form. No disrespect to them, but it's we've got Everton above us. Do you know what I mean? I'm not used to it. We've been spoiled as a fan base, and let's face it, last 10 years we've been spoiled with Klopp, and Klopp had the reins over everything. And is this a sign of what happens if you don't give the reins to everyone and loads of people do different parts of the jobs? Like, maybe there's not enough communication from top down. They brought all these players, and Slot's probably a yes man to say yes. I'll make it work, and you can't make it work. So I got so many questions, why it could be going wrong. But my first change would be replacing the manager at the moment.
I think it needs to be, man. You can't blame a lot of those players, because the thing you've got is people who are saying, well, the ones who won the league last season, they've dipped off. There's a clear lack of desire from them. All these new players that we've brought in, like you said before, and I said in the video the other day, they're going away on international duty and they're looking fucking class. Kerkez, Hungary, brilliant last match. Ekitike scored that brilliant goal for France. Isak's going away and looking decent for Sweden, but just maybe not back to his best. You've got Salah still scoring goals for Egypt. You've got all these players who are going away and look back to the way that we need them to be. The moment Slot gets a handle of them, mate, it's a mess. It's a fucking mess. And in terms of there's a big stat going around at the moment. Slots lost 9 in 12. It took 31 matches for us to lose 9 games under Roy Hodgson, and Slots lost 9 in 12 matches. And those matches under Roy, you expected it, and you thought, right, we know he's not the man to lead us forward. The players we've got are mid, if that, like Joe Coles, your Koncheskis, all that. We've just won the fucking Premier League. We've just won the league title, signed some of the best players across Europe in the Premier League, and we're defending like a League Two Accrington side against Man City. We were so open. And like someone said earlier on, and I'll see if I can find the comment, the big problem we've got is at least when teams are in losing forms or in runs of form, even under Klopp, you could see it. The vision was still there. The system was still working. There was still a plan in place. Right now, there's no signs of progressing. And every single match, I keep saying, that's our worst performance. That's our worst performance. We keep getting worse. And we score 1 goal against PSV. And to counter it, we concede 1 more. I'm losing the will to even, like you said then, salvage the season. What salvaged the season for us? Because we're meant to be fighting for the league.
Well, at this point, it's top 4. You have to get top 4. And honestly, now I know what your answer is. If I said to you now, will we get top 4?
No, not a chance.
Exactly.
No.
So salvage the season, get top 4, and with the hope with that attracts the kind of top tier manager that this club needs and demands, a Luis Enrique or someone on that level, because none of them are going to leave mid-season. So what's the stopgap for me between now if we get rid of Slot? Can you get Klopp back until the end of the season? I don't know.
No, I said the other day, again, I keep referencing that video, but I think it was shouldn't sack him. Number 5 was Klopp is not going to come back, because everyone sort of looked at that Diary of a CEO video and said, right, the reason Klopp's not with us is because Slot's still there. So get Slot out and bring Klopp in. He then says in the same interview, I do not miss management. I do not miss the dressing room. I do not miss the rain, being on the pitch in the cold for hours on end. He does not want to come back. He's not going to come back when Liverpool's in a worse position than he left it in, because like he said, unless he can give 100% energy, which goes back to what we were touching on earlier on, how Slot is the complete opposite of him and that the players feed off that energy. If Klopp's not in a position where he wants to give 100% and he can't give 100%, he would not want to come back. And I don't think I'd want him to either if he's not willing to, because as much as I love Klopp, I don't want him there if he's not fully committed and his head's not fully with it, because we saw at the end of last season what happens when that's the case.
Yeah, well, I'm just giving names potential, you know. So if we can't get the top of the range, okay. So the next is managers like Iraola of Bournemouth, with the links. Cesc Fabregas, maybe someone to look at, but too raw. You got the Stuttgart manager, Honus, whatever his name is. You got De Zerbi. I mean, this is the thing. We've got nothing like that excites me, you know? And that's the problem. If I had to roll a dice out of those names, oh my God. Zidane doesn't speak English, so I don't think Zidane will come either. I think he's waiting for that Madrid one to open up again.
I think that is the big domino effect. Yeah. I think Alonso, who's teetering at the moment, which again, fucking
crazy to see.
Mental. If people are calling us entitled fans, Madrid, you are spoiled rotten because you're top of the league.
They're calling for his head.
Exactly. I think Benitez had the same problem, didn't he? He was doing decent and they still sacked him. Like, I think the club is waiting till Alonso goes. They will then make the move, and then Zidane could go back to Madrid. That's the most likely scenario I can think of.
But they might just, look, hypothetically speaking, let's just say Alonso gets the rest of the season. So, and we have to pull the trigger now. What's the choices? So Alonso's not in a mix. Would you take any of those names I've thrown at you? De Zerbi, Fabregas, Iraola, Honus.
Honus could be a decent one because Stuttgart in particular, they build from like a single pivot in midfield. Stiller's like a big part of it. And I would like to revert back to that style. And he won the DFB Pokal quite recently. Iraola is a brilliant manager. There's a reason he was being linked to Real Madrid. But is he ready to make that jump from Bournemouth, where he's over exceeding expectations to a Liverpool team with players that do not fit how he wants to play. He wants quick wingers. He wants people who can run in behind. You've got Ekitike there, but Salah can't play that way anymore. Gakpo,
What if he wants Semenyo with him?
If he wants Semenyo, great, it could work. But even then, I don't know. I think it's just because, given the fact that we've signed, like Klopp was we knew Klopp was coming when Brendan got sacked. That was pretty much nailed on. Now, because we've reached a certain level where we can only bring in the best of the best. Slot was a bit of an unknown, but it's because he was inheriting Klopp's team. Just signing a mid-table Premier League manager, it sounds daft and it sounds like it's unfounded. I need to look into it a bit more, but it just feels very sort of underwhelming. I don't know. It's a real. I can't remember the last time we've been in this situation where we thought, shit, who's going to come in?
But on the flip side, in my mind, I say to myself, we are Liverpool Football Club. So if a job opens up for manager of Liverpool Football Club, you're going to get inundated with all the top managers who want that job, surely, you know? So do we just trust the process? I hate to say that sentence with the board, or are the board part of the problem, you know? There's so many questions and not enough answers, man. It's just so many. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to hear the chat's thoughts. And if West Ham doesn't go, is he going to make the Sunderland game slot, or do you give him to the end of the season? Do you give him to January?
I don't think we can give him till the end of the season now, because there's certain points you reach where it just feels like things cannot be recovered. I think Brendan in that 2015-16 season, if you'd left him in there, it would have got worse and worse and worse. Hodgson, the same thing.
That's what it feels like here now, doesn't it? If you leave,
exactly,
it just worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. And my big worry is, like you said there, there's no one realistically. The club are not going to bring in a short-term replacement like we did with Kenny in 2011. We're not going to rush in and go, right, quick fix, get him in. That'll fix the problem. FSG and the ownership and everyone else is only going to appoint someone that they can build a long-term future around, a long-term plan. Who that is the big issue. The more likely scenario is Slot goes, Van Bronckhorst gets made interim manager until the club can find a long-term target. And I know that's what I'm saying. I don't want it. Things can be worse.
I think Van Bronckhorst is part of the major part of the problem. I just don't rate him. I think it's awful. I mean,
mate, I'm in agreement. And that's my concern. Is, are the club going to literally just go, right, we're not going to bring someone in quick fix. We're going to wait until summer when a target becomes available, maybe an Alonso. Who's to say that once he gets sacked by Madrid, if he does or he leaves, that he doesn't take a break until the summer? They're not going to bring someone in on a whim. They're going to calculate it based on data. And if that option isn't available when we sack Slot now, they're going to go in-house, and that's the big concern.
So basically, we're praying now for Real Madrid to start losing games and the fans force out Alonso. That's where we are right now. That's where we are as a fan base. Yeah, that's where I am now.
I mean, we've gone from league winners to praying that Madrid fail so we can get their manager.
Yeah, that's where I am. Fucking hell, and it's November.
I mean, look, he got saved yesterday because Madrid won 4-3, but all 4 goals came from Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, and Anfield Irishman says here, I think we're in limp home mode. Get it to Jan and bring someone in. I think the rest of the season's a bit of a write-off, but the next month going up to Christmas, I think is very much just fucking get through it.
Do you think we will though? I mean,
no. Oh no, we I don't know. I
want to be positive, but I can't. I want to be positive, but it's been sucked out of me. Like last night's performance, it just felt like last night said to me they've down tools in my mind. There's no fight, there's no running back, there's no like in front of your own fans, like, you know, and people having a go at us saying, stadium started emptying at 75 minutes, like, you know, so what? They pay their money, they want to get entertained, like, you know. And so, myself as a fan, I drive 5 hours. I do a 10-hour round journey every home game, every away, and most away games, and most away games as well. Like, so, forgive me if I left 10 minutes early. Like, do you mean? What did I miss? I missed 1 goal going in. We conceded. Like, wow,
exactly.
But that's my fear. Is once you lose the fans in the stadium, it's untenable as well from a management perspective. Not, you know, when's. You know, it's very rarely our fan base walk out, you know, but once you start seeing that, it becomes untenable. So a change has to be made, but we have to be careful as well. It's a weird situation because there's no one out there. It's so strange.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sacking him in the meantime might be the quick sort of, well, that's better, but we've got to plan long term. And
yeah, it could be a case of
Liverpool,
be careful what you wish for, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Arsenal had it for years where they were wanting Wenger gone, they got him gone, and then it was a good few years of pain and misery for them they had Emery, then they had to go through the early Arteta stages, spent a lot of money to fix the problem, as have we. But like, no matter the circumstance or the situation, when you've managed to get it so bad that you're making Liverpool fans leave Anfield early in a Champions League match. A Champions League match is our bread and butter. That is Liverpool through and through. And you've got
Anfield night games European. They're
exactly.
Historic. Yeah.
It's spot on, and you've managed to turn away a fan base, and the fan base is divided because there's people saying they shouldn't leave early. I'd have been fucking gone. What am I sticking around there to watch? What am I saying there to watch? To watch us get pumped even worse. A lack of desire. The very least I expect, and I said this in the group a few weeks ago, and I got ripped for it. The very least I expect: take away tactics, take away manager, take away all that bollocks. I expect effort. I expect work rate. I expect desire. I expect players to want to play for that badge and to win matches. Even if they don't, I want us to go down swinging. I remember when we played Real Madrid in the 2018 Champions League final, and I said to my mate in work, we're probably not going to win, but if we're going to lose, I want us to go down swinging. We fucking didn't. But the point still stands. I expect commitment. Curtis Jones's interview after that match showed that the players have the fight in them, but they are being told not to do it. He was pissed off, and rightfully so. And he epitomized how we are all feeling at the moment. There are players there who want to do well and are being stifled creatively. And like Mo said before, Szoboszlai on that pitch was putting in more effort than the other 21 players on that pitch combined, and he was stealing the show, and no one else was matching that intensity. And I feel sorry for him for that fact. The fact that he's worked his bollocks off, got the goal, pressed, was good defensively, good going forward, and he's met with the support around him of nothing. And it's I feel bad for him.
Yeah, but you hit the nail on the head. Like, as fans, all we want to see is them put in the effort. That and a couple of good comments on the chat as well. That getting paid very well. Like I said before earlier, I would give my right leg just to play 10 minutes for Liverpool Football Club. What they're doing is a dream come true. So fight for that badge, It's one of the, it's not my home city, but it's one of the best cities in the world. I've been going to Liverpool for over 35 years now. And it's just a special, special, special club. So fight for this club, fight for the fans, and make us proud. We'll be with you from thick and thin. But when you start losing us, it's because you're not putting in the effort, There's families. The price of football is ridiculous nowadays. It's absolutely shocking, the price of football. It's terrible. So, and it's a release. It's always been a release, even from the mining days. It's workers would go and get their release to go and watch football. And we're not having that. So that I agree. If you want to walk out and go home, fine, because they're not giving us anything to stick around for and fight for.
No.
Because their application is not showing that they're in it. If they were fighting and running, all those 11 players, none of our fans would leave. But as soon as you see those, like you said, I don't want to throw Mo under the bus, but like one of those goals he didn't track back, and there wasn't legs from McAllister. There wasn't. Even the disallowed goal. What shocked me was Mamadashvili just stood still like a statue. Yeah. There's no application, there's no desire, and that's what pissed me off. I want us to fight, but when you start seeing that there's no fight there, then there's bigger problems at hand.
If you're not going to play for the manager, at least play for the club. If they couldn't give a shit. Yeah, exactly. Play for your careers, because at the end of the day, a new manager comes in and he goes, right, what went wrong under Slot? Who's not been putting the effort in? Szoboszlai right now, any manager who came in would think, right, he's first on that team sheet because he's working.
He's the next captain.
Exactly. And then you'd look at all these players like a Mo, you'd look at a Canate, you'd look at a McAllister, and you'd just think, do I want you in this team if you're not going to put in the effort? Are you going to do the same to me? And if they've given up tools, fucking fine. Get out the club. I'm not arsed. Other players have left. Other players have come in. I adore some of them. Mo Salah is one of my favourite ever players. But if he's a detriment on the pitch and he's not offering anything, give Chiesa, the player who could have easily left in the summer to further his international career, who could have been getting game time week after week, even after the window shut and he's been designated to the bench when Besiktas came in for him, reward him with game time, because at least when he plays, he puts in a fucking effort. Mo doesn't. He sits there, wanders back, expects the ball to feet, does nothing with it. And it's infuriating to say when one of our greatest ever players is performing that way. And Slot has to be held accountable, because last season, one of the greatest seasons for us, there's memories in that I will remember forever. Going to that parade in front of the Liverpool building, seeing us with the trophy, watching us beat City twice, watching us go to Old Trafford and dominate them, winning the Premier League title, lifting it, like pure, beautiful moments. And it's been tainted. And Slot, coming into this season, only I've said it before, I'm like a broken record, the only two managers to win it in their first season at Liverpool were Joe Fagan and Kenny in his first run. Neither of them retained. Slot overachieved. He's then come back down to earth, and we're finally seeing the standard of manager that we have now that he's been able to implement his ideas and implement his vision onto the squad, and he's not good enough.
Spot on. Couldn't have said it any better. Last season, he ran with Klopp's team. He ran with pretty much Klopp's formation. He made some brilliant tactical tweaks, which we thought, this guy's tactically brilliant. You know, we come out second half last year, most games, and blew away teams because he learned from the first half and minor little tweaks. And we thought, hang on, this guy's really good. But now he's trying to implement his team, his tactics, his vision, his players. Spent 450 million. I know he's got returned 200 odd. Fine. But that brings pressure with it. And at the moment, he's buckling under that. So, yeah. I'm gonna end on that. Lou, I'm gonna have to love you and leave you.
No, that's fine, man. Thank you so much for coming on. I'm probably
thank you very much for having me on. Thank you very much, chat, for listening to my bullshit.
No, mate, you've been phenomenal. I'll see you later if you're on Red Room with us.
I will be, but I really do apologise but I really appreciate the invite. Thank you very much.
Everyone,
give Lewis a like and a follow and subscribe. Top guy, man, top guy.
Thank you, mate.
And I'll see you all guys soon. Okay.
Yep, I'll speak to you in a bit, man. There we go. Mo is gone. I will only be another minute or so, and then I'll probably shoot myself as well. But look, I'll go through the comments because there's been plenty of them that have come in the time. Get your thoughts in. Is Slot going to stay? Is Slot going to go? Should he stay? Should he go? Fuck knows. I think I'm just done. I'm done now. I'm at the point where as soon as those lads have given up and there's no work rate, no desire, no commitment, no willingness to make anything happen, I think I'm done. At least with Klopp, at least under him, even in the bad spells, even in those moments where you perhaps looked at it and thought, right, things are shit, things are awful, you always had that thought of he can turn this around, he can get us back on track. You can see the vision, you can see what he wants to implement. He wants to take the team forward. That spell in 2020 after we'd won the league, Van Dijk got injured, we plummeted. 22, 23, the losing streaks, losing 3 in 4 matches. We got beat by Brentford, we got beat by Brighton. At least you had it in the back of your mind that we can turn this around, and we did in both instances. Right now under Slot, there is no positivity that can really take, and I love Klopp to death. He's one of my favorite ever. He is my favorite Liverpool manager that I've seen in my lifetime. He is not going to come back now. He is not going to come back for the remainder of the season. He has made it crystal clear he has no desire to come back into management. People saying sack Slot and just bring Klopp back, it is not that easy. And that really does need to change. Go through the comment. That 4th goal felt like the end. It was the fucking end. It was the end of the match for sure. And I do think that's Slot done. I think he's got the West Ham game. I think the club are going to bide time until that we find someone who's going to be that long-term replacement, someone we can bring in. Maybe wait till Alonso does leave Madrid, which is a possibility. And then maybe we'll go out and bring him in. Maybe we'll find someone else. Who knows? Surely he has to be sacked today. Supposedly he's got the backing, but how many times do we hear that? How many times do you hear managers who get the backing of the board and are gone within the next few days? I will be stunned if Slot is here this time next week. He will be given West Ham, I think. If he loses there, that will be the firepower the board needs to go, right, it's not working, off you pop. But it is a case of who do you bring in? If you get rid of Slot right now, Who do you bring in? Who's going to replace him? Because the club aren't going to invest in someone short term, as I've already said. It's going to be a long-term solution. It's going to be someone they can look to implement for a long strategy. There are none of them available right now who are wanting to come to us or that we've approached. So we'll have to wait and see with that. Europe was supposed to be a chance to get out of the funk. I completely agree. And I think that was one of the main reasons why Slot was being kept in the job, was because we still had Europe. We had all that to look forward to. You can eat a few losses in this new league stage, however you want to call it, and you can still progress. And there's every chance we can do that. 2004-05, we scraped the group stage and went on to win the cup. And no one remembers how we did in the Prem because we won that trophy. We won the Champions League in Istanbul. No one gives a shit what we did in the Premier League at that point. So I thought maybe we could have the same season. Doesn't seem to be going that way. Slot should be sacked immediately. It's been dreadful. It has been dreadful. Again, no. Are the club going to rush into things? It's not rushing at this point because it's been dross the past few months. Even towards the end of last season, after we won the league, we still dropped off. But then pre-season, think back, we got beat by AC Milan. We struggled against was it Real Betis 3-2? We scraped them. The signs have been there for months and months and months, and now we're at this point where the narrative is just he's got to be gone because there's no way forward. GVB as interim would be worse. I completely agree. I don't want to see Van Bronckhorst made as our interim manager ever because it will be a true shit show. But if the club do sack Slot and they've got no one who they can bring in now, no long-term narrative, no plan for what comes next, Van Bronckhorst will probably be made interim manager providing he doesn't get the job that he's been linked to. I can't remember what it is. It's an international job. And things will just go to shit, complete and utter shit. And we'll end up in a situation where no manager wants to come to us. We've got no Europe. Players want to leave. Fuck knows. Yes, we had that one before. No improvement. When I see Sobbo pressing and no one else following, it reminds me of when Bruno was doing it for United and we were ripping them. It's big alarm bells. Yeah, I agree. When Szoboszlai, someone who was being viewed as the rotation option to Wirtz this season, is playing for us, and he's the only one leading the press. He's the only one who actually wants to win the ball back. He's the only one who wants to make something happen. And no one else is following suit. He's not got the backing of McAllister, Gravenberch, Salah, all these other players around him. No one who is wanting to even attempt to win that ball with him. He's on his own. He's on his own little island. It's a major, major concern. And I feel sorry for him. It feels like Gerrard did in the Roy Hodgson era, where he was dragging that team through the mud, and your other goals are coming from Dirk Kuyt occasionally because that was a bit of a bad season for him. Voronin was popping up with a few. I think that was Rafa Benitez, actually. I'm just a bit kerfuddled at the moment. But no, it's a mess. Grav got team of the year last season, and fans acted like he's world-class 6. He can't progress the ball. Last season, he progressed the ball like it was no one's business. I think teams have just figured out how to play against him. You don't try and press him so he can get on the half turn and get past you. You give him time and say, right, go on. What are you going to do with it? And the answer is fuck all, because he gets the ball and he just passes it backwards, tries to get it forward, and we just give it away. And that was a big problem last night. Was everyone gave away the ball 2 or 3 times in stupid circumstances where the passing was wayward. You gave it straight to them, and then no one wanted to track back and actually defend properly. Awful. Mo well sits next to a Mank at work. You could see the anger. Yeah, he was fuming. And we've got the Red Room on Anfield Index later on, which I'm going to be on again if anyone wants to come and watch. That's going to be a fun one. Me, Grizz, Mo. A lot of us getting some anger out, getting some frustration out. Can't wait. Why isn't he sacked yet? It's painful now. Dreading Sunday. Need another international break. Fucking, I'll watch England again. At least England are getting through matches without conceding. Bring Tuchel in. Fuck it, why not? It is painful, mate, and I'm sorry that this is the situation that we all find ourselves in at the moment, having to watch that awful football. It's one thing to lose a one-off match in the Prem like that. It's not a one-off, but like, say if we lost that Forest game randomly, like we did last season at the start, you can sort of excuse it because those results happen. You can view that. It's disappointing, it's shit, but they do happen. But it's just the fact that it's consistently, and the performances are getting worse and worse and worse. It's went to us losing in the last minute against Crystal Palace and Chelsea to being bullied by Manchester United, to getting knocked out the Carabao Cup, to then getting thrashed at the Etihad, to getting dominated by Forest, and now this. It's just, there is no upwards trajectory. There is no one who looks like there's any sort of signs of improvement. It's getting worse and worse and worse, and progressively we are getting worse and worse and worse, and it really does need to improve. That CEO video was really badly timed. It was straight after the Man United loss, so everyone immediately went, Slot out, Klopp in. That's what's going to happen. It's not. Klopp's not coming back. People need to get the idea out of their head straight away. FSG, sack him now. I think people are just all in agreement. Slot needs to go at this point. Which was worst, Forest or PSV? PSV. No. Yeah, no, I think PSV, because it was the most recent one, but at least we managed to get a goal, and we had... Sorry, no, I think PSV was slightly better than Forest, because at least with PSV, we managed to get the goal, and at least we had that 20-25 minute spell where we looked like the Liverpool we saw of last season, where we were putting the pressure on them, trying to score, and we dominated play for a little bit, and then it just all went to shit. Heads dropped. Forest, it never looked like we had that moment at all, and if anything, they should have scored more. It really needs to go now. Once the players' heads are gone, then there's not much more he can do. Our biggest issue is who we get in. We've discussed that. Alonso is the one that everyone seems to want, but it only comes to if Madrid want to sack him. How mental is it for Alonso that the decision in the summer was Madrid or Liverpool, and in the same season he could end up managing both? Like that's mad. I'd love to see Alonso at Liverpool. It's just a case of whether A, we could get it done, B, would he want to come to us, and C, if he does leave Madrid. Because Madrid scraped Olympiacos last night thanks to Mbappe's 4 goals. So, yeah. There were a few boos last night. There was a few people walking out as well, which caused a big issue. It's obvious that even the players don't back him anymore. You can tell by the way we played. I'll always love him for what he'd done last season, but he looks like a broken man this season. He looks done. He looks lost. And I think that he's meant to instill confidence into this team. He's meant to be the man who will drive this team forward. And if your players on the pitch devoid of confidence, who look as though they can't see a light at the end of the tunnel, and you look at the man who's meant to be leading you to the side, and he looks just as defeated, just as done in, just as ready to pack it in, that is not filling you with confidence. That is not going to motivate Salah. That is not going to motivate McAllister or Gravenberch or Van Dijk or Konate or anyone on that pitch to perform, because the man who's meant to be leading you from the sidelines has packed in himself, and it's woeful. Sacked man is the news we want. Sacked man is the news we want. How can you play Sobbo and right back when you have Gomez and Jones can play in that number now? Look at the supply in front. At least he learned from the mistake against Forest, where he's actually now played Szoboszlai in midfield and Jones at right back, which we called for over on Born and Red last week. And it happened. So at least he's learned. And it almost paid dividends. Szoboszlai got the goal, pressing machine in the middle. So we improved in that regard. If Chiesa got game time, he could be class. I saw his frustration yesterday on the pitch. I don't blame him. It's one of the most stubborn facts is that now Federico Chiesa is a player who could have easily left to get international football for Italy ahead of the World Cup, which is a big influence on players. And he's put in so much work, so much effort. He's stuck with the club, got the winner against Bournemouth, contributed against Newcastle. Amazing match against Southampton in the League Cup, which we then got knocked out of because we rotated heavily, which is daft. And his reward is sit on the bench, get 15 minutes when we're up against it. And when you don't make things happen, you look just as shit as everyone else on the pitch. Don't know what Chiesa needs to do to get game time, but it needs to happen. It really, really does need to happen. My fiance has decided to comment. Thank you very much, babe. Klopp has now turned off comments on his Instagram. We flooded them asking to come back. He won't come back. He won't come back. I might be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong in the future. But for right now, Klopp does not want to come back. He does not want to be in the dressing room. He said that. He doesn't want to do anything to do with football. It's because he said, I could realistically go back to Liverpool because that's the only team I've said I would manage in England if the opportunity ever arises. He is not going to just immediately come back when Liverpool's in this mess where the players are down tools. You've got so many changes in terms of the personnel you've brought in terms of the personnel you've lost. Luis Diaz, big player under Klopp, he's now not there. Quansah, that depth of centre-back, not there. We're having to rely on Gahey potentially coming in January. You've got players coming to the end of their Liverpool careers in maybe Salah and even Van Dijk possibly. There's a lot of change. Is he going to come in now for the interim? No, I don't see it. He's got a job anyway with Red Bull at the moment, doing all his roles there. He's an ambassador for the club. He's not going to come in a temporary basis. If he does come in, it would only be in the future for a long-term vision, long-term project. And that is not where we are currently. The plan would be probably bring someone else in. They can be the long-term successor, but the club are going to wait until summer to source out who that is. Klopp is not going to just on a whim down tools of what he's doing now to come back into management when the reason he left is because he couldn't give 100% and was burnt out. He's not going to throw himself straight back into that after just a year and a half off, like everything's magically recovered. He's enjoying time with his family. He's enjoying time with his grandkids. He's loving life at the moment. He said that himself. He looks healthier. He looks happier. He's not going to just give that up to come back to us when we're in a worse state now, arguably, than when he left us. So, if Slots not willing to change, neither will this team. Completely agree. He's too stubborn in his approach. Klopp coming back is too good to be true. Gerrard, as much as I love him, we've all seen what he's like when he's at Villa. The manager market is dry as fuck, mate. It's like Gandhi's flip-flop. It's completely dry. It is dry as anything right now. Gerrard couldn't cut it at Villa, couldn't cut it at Al Ettifaq in Saudi, did great at Rangers. He is not going to come to it. I don't want us to do a Frank Lampard to Chelsea a couple of years ago after Potter, I think it was. You think it where you think, okay, he's a legend. He's going to motivate everyone. He's going to add that energy that will get us back to just to get us through to the end of the season. No, it will not work. I don't think that players will respond to that. Thiago might be a good shout once he gets his management pass. He's at Barcelona, I think, currently, Thiago. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Maybe in the future, but he's a bit unknown. People are saying Cesc Fabregas. It's too inexperienced. He's try 4-5-1. At least we wouldn't get rammed through. I saw Dougie Critchley say something about this on Twitter earlier where he was saying we should play like a 4-5-1. I will see if I can find it because it really was interesting. Where are we? Dougie. There we go. See if I can find that's the one. It wasn't a 4-5-1 per se, but it was something different. Let me just share screen. That's the one. Sorry, Dougie, I am using your tweet. But he suggested this. Canate, Van Dijk, Robertson at centre-backs, Frimpong and Kerkez on the full-back positions, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Wirtz, Isak/Ekitike. It'd be Isak at the minute because Ekitike got injured, and Salah. Would that work? Possibly. Definitely possibly could, but are we going to try and do that? Are we going to try and try that? Is Slot going to want to try that? Probably not. As much as we want change to happen, it's him who decides whether it does or not, and I can't see that happening. Klopp, come back and help us. It's such a dire situation, isn't it? I love Klopp. I would love him to come back one day, but don't see it. And the last comment, only way Stevie G could come back is as an assistant manager to someone, and he wouldn't do that. Yes, I agree. He was on the punditry yesterday, and correct me if I'm wrong, but did the lady ask, how likely is it the Slot gets sacked, and she ended up having to apologize to them? Like, it's mental. You can't ask these questions. You should be able to, because I think it's a valid question. I'd love to have heard Gerrard's approach to it, being the man who's been sacked by 2 clubs and left one where he was doing great. But yeah, it's such a strange situation. I do think there's no way back from Slot now. Last comment as well before I give my final thoughts. That team you put up, I said this months back, we have wing backs. Use them. Frimpong as a wing back would be incredible. But that is going to wrap it up. I want to do one. I haven't done a stream in months. I want to start doing them more. The top 10s aren't going anywhere. There's another one lined up in the next few days. I just enjoy it. I enjoy communicating with you guys, getting to talk to you all. There's almost 6,000 of you now, which is insanity. So please click like and subscribe. We're almost at 6,000, which is huge because people actually enjoy listening to me talk, which is so strange. But yeah, Slot out. I think so. I think we're done now. I think we're at the point where there is no return. It screams Brendan going into that Everton match where he knew he was going to get sacked. it just feels like we're at that stage where there is no positives to take anymore. Even in defeats against Chelsea, even in defeats against Manchester United, even in the Palace defeat, you could look at it and say there were goals, there were positives, there were things that we can take from it, which we can use going forward. There was nothing in this match that's a positive other than Dominic Szoboszlai. And he can't do everything himself. It's not possible. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you agree that Liverpool should be sacking Arne Slots? Who'd you bring in? Try and think of a sort of a long-term plan that you can see and what the likely scenario is. Should he be shit-canned, I guess is the term. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. More content comes soon. Check out Red Room later on. I'll be on there again, 8 o'clock. And for now, just have a nice day. Thank you so much, guys.